Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
And then you start crying, and then I start laughing. Just like it starts with this like chuckle, then it just turns into a Joker supervillain laugh. And then we have sex again. That's how it works.
There's something very wrong with you, and on that note, hi, this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Milan Jeptic 1992 and Alexander Stevenson, the superhero enthusiast. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. I just talked about my sexual practices. It was fun.
Yeah, and you only got to hear the fade-in of it, so, you know, maybe, like, replay the intro with the screaming loud metal music, or I might use jazz this week if I can find a good cover of the Taxi Driver one song that's played throughout the entire fucking movie. If I can find a cover of that, I might use jazz, but enjoy the really loud music as you listen very intently to hear Milan's utter nonsense.
That's usually what I provide to the show.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all you provide to the show.
And the art. And the charming boyish charm.
Boyish charm, my ass.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, Alex, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is fun. So, Alex won a game that was sorely mismatched because the person he was competing against had, like, no chance since there's someone just starting out a YouTube channel with no idea what they're... Well, not no idea. With very little idea of what they're actually doing yet. Just learning the ropes. Versus Alex, who's had a lot of experience in competition more than anything else when it comes to reviewing. So, that contest was sorely mismatched, so congratulations, Alex. You won the American way.
Yeah, I like all my contests to be like that.
Duh.
He has the manners of a Canadian, but the cutthroat wit of an American.
Pretty much. Yeah, so, I mean, Alex won our contest, and that's fine. It was a fun contest anyway. And he got to choose a movie for the Geeky Gentleman to review, and he could join if he wanted. He could have picked a bad movie, but instead he decided to pick Taxi Driver. And I figured I'd ask, what drove you to this decision, Alex?
Oh, nice pun.
Yeah, see what I did there? Because it's a movie about a guy that drives a car, and yeah, I'm clever.
It's only downhill from here. I don't know. I'd been wanting to rewatch it. I hadn't seen it for probably a year or two. And then I guess in the past year or two, with everything that's gone on, at least in the United States, with mass shootings and all kinds of crazy, not so people with the violence, I just thought it would be kind of relevant. Despite this film being very 1970s, there's a lot of stuff that in that movie that is still relevant now.
Yeah, totally.
Nothing ever changes.
Yeah, it seems that way. So, no, I mean, it's so interesting, because I've never watched Taxi Driver, but it's been on my list for a long time. So I was really interested when you did end up picking this, and I was like, okay, well, we'll watch Taxi Driver and see what all the fuss is about, and why, apparently, you know, I want to kill Ronald Reagan now. It's like, goddamn, why does he already have to be dead? I really want to... I got the hots for Jodie Foster, and I figure if I kill Ronald Reagan, she'll go out with me or something, but...
You know, that just makes perfect sense.
It really does, I mean, when you totally think about it.
See, I just wanted to kill Ronald Reagan before I seen this movie, so, like, I'm a kill Ronald Reagan hipster, so fuck all of y'all. I wanted to kill Ronald Reagan before it was cool.
Yes, Milan, yes you did. So yeah, I don't know. I've been wanting to see Taxi Driver for a while. It's just one of those movies that been on my list and I just hadn't gotten to it. And man, this is such a good movie. And not in like the traditional sense of I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good art.
Yes. There's one thing that was interesting about it for me, and I don't know if anyone else has this, and I want to just get this out there before I totally forget about it. For some reason, I've always had a fascination with streetlights at night through, especially when it's raining, through a windshield, because it always blurs the light and reflects in really interesting ways, and I was like, I should try to get something like that on camera at one point, because it just looks so cool. And God, for that reason alone, I just love the opening and ending credits of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. It just looks gorgeous.
Oh, it does.
It makes the grunginess of 1970s New York seem beautiful.
I could agree with that. Alex, your thoughts on the opening visuals and stuff?
It's a really kind of great and sort of spooky, haunting kind of way to do it. And yet it is beautiful in a way, despite the fact that it is in New York in the 1970s.
I mean, God, does this movie like not glamorize New York at all?
Yeah.
Just makes it look dirty.
It looked like sincerely, it looked like something from the post-apocalypse. I gotta say. It's whores. It's like a demilitarized zone. Fucking whores everywhere.
Well, New York has done a lot to really clean itself up and clean up its image since then. So this movie is kind of a window into the past in that respect. And you kind of see like, wow, this is probably what like the nicer parts of Gotham City are like.
It's like Bruce Wayne, I live in a good neighborhood. We only have one drug dealer shot a week. No one likes him anyway. He charges too much. Apparently it's the same drug dealer in this scenario.
Oh, no.
Which doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to go with it.
No. Bruce Wayne lives in one of those fancy neighborhoods. It's just like, yeah, it's only white people.
Bruce Wayne lives in a gated community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only white people allowed. Any black man in 25 yards should be shot on sight.
Pretty much.
Batman is racist.
Well, that's an interesting thing to bring up because, like, racism is a big part of this movie, and the main character, Travis Bickle, who is the taxi driver, they don't come out and say that he's racist, but they do everything possible visually to convey that that's the case.
Funny enough,
yeah.
I never caught that he was racist. I mean, I watched this film very closely. He never in the whole film uses a racial epithet ever. Everyone around him does. He has one of his buddies, one of his cabbie buddies is black. He helps out a Mexican dude, and a stick up. Sure, it's a black guy that he shoots.
I don't think that was a Mexican guy. I think he was supposed to be Italian.
No, he was Puerto Rican. There was like Puerto Rican radio in the background, and he was speaking Puerto Rican. And he helps.
He was speaking Puerto Rican. I wasn't aware Puerto Rican was a language.
Yeah, well, it's that language that those people speak. But he's not
I'm beginning to wonder how well Milan, or how apt Milan is for pointing out when someone is or is not racist.
But dude, he doesn't say out he doesn't talk bad about anybody really. When he talks about the scum on the street, he's just talking about the hookers and all the crime and shit.
Yeah,
but it's the looks. Like
what
it's
looks?
Like he'll like look around and there'll be like these really weird, almost like distorted shots of the people around him, and they're African American.
Not all of them. There's like white people there as well.
Occasionally, there's certain scenes. There's the one scene in the diner.
Oh, when he looks at that black guy, like just creepily.
Yeah.
I don't think that's just racism. I think he's just going crazy by that point. I mean, like, you see the look at his eye? His fucking hair is all messy. His eyes are like, yeah. I think he would just stare at anyone. And that, like, I sometimes do that, just stare at people on the street with a weird glint in my eye.
Yes, because we all know Milan is the pinnacle of mental health.
Oh, yeah, totally, man. I have a certificate on my wall saying how, just signed in blood by a psychiatrist about how sane I am.
Signed in blood by a psychiatrist. I like that mental image. I'm just saying, if your psychiatrist signs things in blood...
Oh,
you
no.
might not be the right kind of guy.
He didn't sign it, I was holding the finger while... He technically signed it, the hand was still kind of attached to his body, but... Well, let's change subject. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not incriminate Milan.
Yeah, let's not do that again. But, I mean, that's the thing, like, I never got the whole racist vibe of him. I mean, like, if you, like, you looked... I mean, he had the black cabbie, was afraid... Like, he treated everyone, like, very distantly. White, black, whatever. He just kind of came off as an awkward lunatic to me.
I don't know, when he goes over, like, the scum of the earth thing, he's just really... I don't know, just... It sounds like Klansman, kind of racism, Klansman kind of propaganda without the word nigger, is the impression I got.
I just thought he was talking about the shitty parts of humanity, like all the whores and like not all the pimps were fucking white. I mean, he kills a white pimp, so like he doesn't give a fuck. He's not talking about specifically about black people. And that's the thing, he doesn't say the word nigger once in this whole movie. I was expecting for him to just going around with like from what I've heard from this film, I was expecting him to going around like yelling the N-word at everything and going, white race, just like that at everyone. But I was kept expecting to see that. I was like, I want to see that, full frontal racism. Show it to me, baby, show it to me. And I never got it.
To see the full frontal racism. Yay, Milan, for a sentence no one else has ever said in the history of the world.
It's okay, I can say that. My dad is brown.
Yeah, no.
Heck, he is. He's like terrifyingly brown. And funny.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No.
Full frontal racism needs a TV tropes page, I think.
Oh, God.
I love that website.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. I've only seen it a couple times, and I'm just like, yes, that is awesome. That's a thing that needs to happen more often.
Full frontal racism?
No, just TV tropes. They're fun.
Ah, okay.
Alright, anyway. Alex, I already asked you why you picked it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry. I should stop distracting myself with 3D modeling. My bad. Anyway, no, I mean, I really did enjoy this. Like, it's so hard to speak about this movie in a positive way because I typically don't find myself enjoying things in which we watch a man disconnect from reality and plot murder. That tends not to be things I enjoy.
I found it quite boring because that's just what I do on a daily basis.
Milan, I was wondering, like, do you think you're gonna be taking notes from this guy for like dating advice? You think you're gonna go take women to porno movies?
Oh yeah, he is my love guru. I mean, like usually what I just follow people around in high heels and a green military trench coat and nothing else, smiling at them while having like clown makeup on, and I just follow women around.
Okay, all right, stop giving people nightmares this week.
You're welcome.
Anyway, no, I mean, that was really true. The funny thing I noticed is he actually had some kind of justification for going to that because, one, there was actually a couple there, and two, it was more of a documentary than straight up porn, but yeah. That scene really stuck out to me, I guess.
I think it's interesting that, he as a character is so alienated, and then he tries to find this kind of, like, secondhand intimacy by going to watch porno movies in the theater.
Yeah. It was so weird, because he's like, there's so many moments where I'm just like, dude, you cannot possibly think this is normal. When he, like, tries to talk to the, not receptionist, ticket girl or concession stand.
Mm-hmm.
The concessions girl at the porno theater.
I'm
Dude, she works in a porno theater. You're not getting her number. I'm sorry.
My God. Like when I first saw
she does not go to work to pick up guys.
Oh my God! When I first saw that, I'm like, the girl was pretty cute, and I'm like, like my inner gay best friend came out, and I'm like, oh honey, like the girl works in a porno theater. I mean, like, dude.
Well, if you were not actually bisexual, I'd be like, stop the very, very like stereotypical gay
Hey,
guy
I can
bullshit.
talk like this. I love the cock. Okay? Okay? Like, I'm gonna continue with my offensively gay voice. Thank you very much.
My God, this video has completely derailed way too early
Yeah.
on.
Anyway. So, but like, honey, she's fuck it. You got me off my gay voice, dude. Jeez, thanks. But anyway, I mean, he like.
But that's the
what
point. He's so disconnected, and he doesn't understand. The social mores of just just even the most basic ones of like, don't take women on dates to porno theaters. Don't try and pick up women who work at porno theaters.
Yeah. I just thought that was so funny because like that was the first white flag. Like I'm watching this movie. I'm like, is he trying to pick up that girl from porno theater? I mean, like I just got into the mind of the girl, and this is what I would say if he was trying to pick me up. I'm like, mate, like this doesn't look good, right? I mean, I work here, and there's usually scumbags that come here to watch porn.
And now apparently she's an Australian man.
Yeah, exactly. That's how my mind works. Any hot, chocolate lady essentially turns into a hot Australian dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Anyway, it's just so silly. The thing with the taxi driver, with Travis, is that I saw a lot of hints of him being, like, not so subtle hints of him being mentally ill. I mean, the guy, he constantly talks about how he doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep nights or days. Whenever he tries to sleep, he can't. He's an insomniac. And the thing is, your brain recovers while you sleep. And so if you don't take enough hours to sleep per day, your brain slowly starts to essentially stew in its own juices and starts to poison itself. And it's essentially, that's where, you start hallucinating, you're not thinking right. And like you always see him, down antipsychotics. And he's
is that what he's taking?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He was taking antipsychotics. He's,
I thought it was fucking acid.
No. It was just, he's downing pills of antipsychotics. It was in a little prescription bottle, so that's how I could tell. He doesn't sleep. He's a Vietnam vet. He takes antipsychotics. He can't, he tries to fill up his day because he can't sleep. And it's just all these little signs. It's just like, this is just the mental degradation of a human being, and him trying to regain some sort of pride in himself. He's trying to make connections, but he's so fucked in the head now that he can't even comprehend, that you don't take a lady to a porno theater for your first date. And he's charming.
Well, it was their second date.
Well,
so
whatever.
It's the 70s.
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, he is a sweet and handsome guy. Well, he can be. He's a very masculine man. He's like, hey, I'll take you out, get some pie and coffee. And he's handsome and he's sweet, and he's human. But the thing is, he's so fucked in the head that it's just like he starts out all right with this girl. He comes off as a little creepy when he's stalking her, but then he's like, he comes out and says, hey, I want to go get some pie. And that guy is like a fucking idiot. He's a goofy. He doesn't say that straight out, but he's like, come with me. We have a connection. And she's like,
yeah, I got you. I mean, there's a lot of really subtle things that go on in the beginning. At first, I'm like, what's the big appeal about the movie? Because I never really knew anything about the movie except for the famous mirror scene. I never knew what the movie was about. And so I'm like watching it, I'm like, this is obviously a character study. I could tell that by watching maybe the first 15 minutes. I could tell that there wasn't going to be really a plot, I guess. Well, that's the wrong term. There wasn't going to be a strict, narrative to it in a certain sense. It was going to kind of just be following this character and seeing how they act. I understood that after a bit going into it, but then things start to develop and he just keeps getting further and further away from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I think the scene that scares me is when he's looking at all the guns, and he takes, I think it's the snub nose, and he points it out the window, and he starts aiming it at people on the street, and I'm like, that's frightening, because that happens all the time. I can't remember the name of the girl, but there's, is this chick, she lived next to a elementary school, and she waited until they were on their first recess, and she pulls out a sniper rifle and just starts killing children, faculty, and stuff.
Fuck.
With the sniper rifle. And then, you know, they knew, like, as soon as the cops arrived, she kills, like, I think 2 cops, and then they knew exactly where the shots were coming from. Before the cops were able to arrest her, she gets a call, and it's a reporter, and they ask, why have you done this? Why? And she goes, because I hate Mondays, and then hangs up. Just that very, very bitter, very disgusting disconnect between, you know, humanity and people with, you know, power that they should not have, I guess.
Yeah. The thing with me is that I related a lot with people, like with Travis, because I actually went through that. It's the early sign, well, not the early signs, but it's the signs of schizophrenia in ways, well, at least some sort of mental illness, and that slow degradation from something vaguely normal. You could already, like in the beginning of the film, you could tell that he has he has a problem, but all the way through the film, it just gets worse and worse and worse. He doesn't sleep. He just keeps working, and he's like, it just grinds him down until he becomes a shaven-headed superhero, essentially, shooting pimps and saving underage prostitutes.
Well, no, I don't think he's. Yeah, he was trying to save her, quote unquote.
Oh yeah, but
then again,
yeah.
He was about to kill himself because he thought that he was going to go to jail for it. He isn't a hero at the end of this. That's the bitter irony at the end.
Yeah, I know.
Alex, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that, like, he has post-traumatic stress disorder from Vietnam, and yeah, I think those are likely antipsychotics he's taking. He stops taking them, halfway through the film, which definitely doesn't help him at all. And he's somebody who is alienated, and he doesn't have the social support network that somebody should have, especially somebody with mental illness like that. So he just goes even farther out of control, and that's kind of the interesting thing, and why one of the reasons why I picked this with regards to the theme of violence, in that he does do that stuff at the end, and that's the weird thing, is like he almost kills Palantine, the politician, and if he'd done that, he would have been seen as this horrible monster, but because he ended up killing the pimp and all those guys, he's seen as a hero. And so it's like society is accepting of this guy and his craziness and his violence, as long as it's directed at certain people.
As long as it's directed at the right people. You can be as cruel and like fucked up and violent as you want to be, as long as the gun is pointing at the right people.
More or less. I mean, I'm sure. To be fair, I'm sure that if someone goes around killing pimps, they're probably going to be charged with something, if for no other reason than legal firearms. Which there is another scene that like when he starts carrying the guns, I honestly didn't know if it was just in his head at that point, because so many other things just seem like this could not possibly be happening to a real person, and him just walking away from it or whatever.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff where he just, like when the cop gets sent after him after he walks into the election office and the Afro guy kicks him out. The cop gets sent after him. We don't see any consequences for that, and there's just a lot of things like that where there are no consequences, or it doesn't seem like it really happened. Like when he drops the guy, or not drops the guy, when he sits with the guy in front of the apartment building who's talking about killing his wife who's cheating on him. It's like how that scene just ends. We don't see any consequences to that scene, so I'm not sure if that's in his head.
Well, we do. They're not like direct consequences, but we see like that shapes how he views things.
No, I get you there, but I mean like the actual thing that would unfold from that. I mean, we don't see him have to talk to a cop or something because of that, or we don't see him like drive the guy away. We just it happens. There's a conversation, and then we just cut to the cafe. So I'm not sure if that scene in particular, if that's in his head when he gets the guns. I'm not sure if he actually has guns or not.
I mean, at the time,
so kills that dude in the convenience store.
This is 1970s New York, so the cops, like he says this all the time, like the cops don't do shit. And like, you know, if you were a cop, let's just take it that way. And like, you know, the guy's already been thrown out. He's walking away angrily. You know, you're not gonna chase him.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is, like, let's look at that scene and see what could have. There are like a couple things that could have possibly happened. Either A, he lets the guy out of the cab, which is probably most likely. He lets the guy out of the cab, and the guy goes and kills his wife. B, he stays with the guy in the cab until the guy gets out and kills his wife, and then he either drives away or waits for cops to show up. Because, I mean, if there's a murder, I don't care if the cops don't do shit. They're going to show up. It's kind of it's their job. They have to show up to the scene of a murder. It's just that we don't see what happens or the consequences of what happens, and we never hear about it again. So I'm not sure if he imagined it.
I think
it's just there's a theory that at least the end of the movie after the big shootout that's all in his head.
Okay.
That's like him thinking, yeah, I'm a hero, as like he's essentially sitting there dying.
I don't think that. Funny, that's the thing. I was expecting this film to be a lot darker than it was.
What? What did you need to see him drown a puppy or something?
No, I was expecting, like, from all the talk I heard of this film about how dark and cringy it was, I was expecting something a lot darker and a lot more morally, like, despicable. When he went up with that, you know, underage prostitute, I was like, I generally thought, is he gonna sleep with her? And like then try to save her at the end. I'm like, that's pretty fucked up, but that would fit the bill of that's a fucked up movie. But it's just like, hey, but we got a happy ending at the end of it, and like a bittersweet kind of, you know, type of ending. But you know, it was weird. I was expecting something a lot darker than this. It's still a dark movie. Don't get me wrong, but still.
This is one of the more dark movies I've seen that doesn't use blood that often. I mean, there's a bit of blood in the middle, and then obviously at the end there's a lot. But I mean, overall, this movie is very, very like shrouded in just depression, and it's very nihilistic.
Nihilistic?
I'd have to say. Everyone says it differently. It pisses me off.
I go with nihilistic because all the other... I mean, if you're going to use proper Latin, yeah, it's probably nihilistic, but all the other words in English that we use that use that same root, like annihilate, we say as annihilate, so I use the hard I sound.
Yeah, no, it just drives me crazy because every time I talk to someone and I use the word, they always go, you mean nihilism or nihilism or nihilism? Like, god damn it, people! You know what I mean, just go with it! No, it's just a very nihilistic movie. He's just sitting there commenting on how everything is shit. And, like, the thing is, I'm not sure if this guy thinks that anything was ever good. I mean, this isn't like God Bless America, where the lead character thinks everything's gone to hell now, but that there was good in the world at one point. This guy he never talks about anything positive. Ever. Like, there's that one scene where he's eating breakfast with a prostitute where he's like, you should be at home, you know, girls live at home and you know, date boys and stuff. You shouldn't be out here doing this stuff. I'm like, that's a very superficial image that seems positive, but not like, he doesn't seem very happy about that idea or anything. I don't know. It's just...
Well, I think, you know, he maybe just doesn't have it like worked out in his head the way that he thinks the world should be. It's just this kind of pervasive feeling of uneasiness and anxiety, and that, you know, something's not right, but he can't quite put his finger on it.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't attribute I don't think that all the end part was in his head. I think if that was so, it would be kind of cheapen the film. But I was expecting for him to die. Like I didn't expect that happy ending at the end. Like, hey, the letter from.
It's not a happy ending.
Well, it's a happy ending to me. I mean, the girl's parents,
God, see, it's sentences like that make me really worry about your home life on a fundamental level.
Oh, come on, it's not that dark. The thing is, the parents, say, hey, our girl's home with us. We're gonna try to make things better for her. She's in school, and it's bittersweet, but it's still a happy ending. It's still something there's some ray of hope at the very end of it. I mean, if
people die.
Those people were guys who were trafficking children for sex. They deserve to die horrible deaths.
4 people die. A man almost kills himself, and the news media paints him as a hero because he happens to kill the right people. When in fact, he would have killed fucking anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I know.
I mean,
and then
honestly,
he goes back and is a taxi driver again and is a part of society again. That's horrifying.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Alex, have you watched Sherlock at all? The British Sherlock?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because, I mean, as soon as I saw this, I was really, wondering how much of it would be referenced, how much of it had been referenced in that first episode of Sherlock. Spoiler alert, everyone. The killer in the first episode of Sherlock is a taxi driver. And it's a brilliant turn on a mystery because the guy's like, who would ever think of a taxi driver? We're just a guy in front of you. You barely recognize us as a person. And I mean, as someone who's only been in a taxi 5 times, when I was in New York, not for me, but I could see where that comes from for someone that lives in that kind of city.
I never got that whole taxi drivers are less than people thing. Like whenever I use a taxi, and that's often, I always sit at the front, and it's always like a Serbian or a Middle Eastern or a Hindu fella, and we always chat about hey my friend, it's a short drive, but we get to know each other. And I used to have one of my cabbies was this race car driver in a previous life. He's driving like a full-on race car driver down my street, going, and he stops in this perfect swerve, and I'm like, used to be a race car driver. He's like, yes, I was. I give him a tip.
That just reminds me of my favorite scene from the 2008 Hulk movie, and it's a completely superficial scene, but I love seeing Bruce Banner and Betsy Ross. Shit, what's her name? Betty? Okay.
Betty Ross, yeah.
Yeah, Betty Ross. I was about to say Betsy Ross. Who the fuck's Betsy Ross?
Well,
whatever. Anyway,
Betsy's the name of the woman in this movie.
Okay. Anyway. Oh shit. Yeah, you're right. That's why. Head work properly. Bang. No, I was just I love that scene with Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, and he's in the taxi. The dude is just insane.
I could tell that's a Russian guy because the way he drives. Because I've been to Russia a few years back, and there are no road rules. Literally, the street light. Me and my mom were riding on a taxi, and there was just this huge blockage of traffic, and it just went around it he just drove upstairs. I drove through this fucking empty place where those restaurants where they put chairs and little tables at. Basically, he drove through that and drove downstairs again and went around the block. And I'm like, that's badass. and my mom's sitting at the front, and I'm like, it's so funny. It was funny. It was just there are no road rules, and the cops are so fucking corrupt, man. The thing is, they don't stop you for any sort of violation. They stop you when they need some cash. They just say, I'm not fucking joking. I'm not fucking joking. That's how it works there. I mean, I
just have this image of a cop trying to get a candy bar out of a vending machine, and some dude's just walking down the street, and he just pulls out his nightstick, is like, hey. 50 cents right now.
I don't know. My friend, one of my friends from camp, is this older guy, camp counselor. He actually tells stories about this. He goes back and forth from Moscow, and he basically says, "Oh man, we sit he's a bodyguard." Funny enough, he actually once looked after what's his name? It's that little rapper, the one that collaborates with everyone and who is a slimy lizard man?
There's a lizard person rapping. I should listen to his albums. I bet there's a lot of hissing rhymes.
No. It's like the one he like Little Wayne.
Thank you, Alex, for appreciating that joke.
No, he once like looked after Little Wayne. He's a bodyguard. He tells me stories about Little Wayne and how much of a little dick he is. And I was like, just ignore, Little Wayne would like talk shit about him, like in front of him, like, hey, little Wayne, you're a big fucking cunt, yeah. And basically, all the guys are just getting all tensed up. He's like, man, just don't fucking listen to him. It's just Little Wayne. Don't worry, it's just Little Wayne. Don't worry.
Okay.
Anyway,
back to the movie.
I'm sorry. This is real quick. This is funny, trust me. And basically tells me a story about how he fucks with the fucking traffic police in Moscow. And he basically, a guy stops him, right? And the cop comes up and is like, okay, we can do the paperwork, or you can give me a fine. Like, straight out. And everyone knows that's how it happens. And the guy's like, I want, and the guy chooses, I want to go paperwork. And the cop just looks so fucking like, what? What, you want to fucking do the paperwork? Don't you want to give me a fine? He's like, no, I want to do the paperwork. And the cop just looks crestfallen and just goes back to his car. And he gets back with this fucking clipboard full of fucking paperwork. And he's just like, okay, let's start. And my friend's like, I don't want to do the paperwork. I'm going to give you a fine. And the guy's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, put that back. I'm gonna give you a fine. The cop goes back and puts the clipboard back, and then it's just and he comes back like, what are you doing? I want to do the paperwork. And it basically goes on like that until the fucking cop says, fuck you, get the fuck off, just fuck off. It's so funny.
That is fun.
That is.
Anyway,
good.
All right, where were we in the movie? I brought up the Hulk. I know that. Oh, it's the scene in the convenience store where he first kills the guy. Or not kills him, he definitely knocks his ass down, though. Down and out for a while. And then the guy beats him with a pipe.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I saw that, I was like, God, that's fucking harsh. Like, I know he's an asshole, and then he robbed you. But he's been shot. I'm pretty sure you guys are even.
He's been shot through the fucking cheek, dude.
I'm pretty sure if anyone robs me, if I get to witness them be shot, we're cool. You know?
No.
Score settled.
No, it's funny because he fucking says, this is the 5th one this year, and he just gets so fucking angry. And, that's how I know it is funny because he talks a little bit of Spanish there.
Milan, dude. You've been going on for 10 minutes.
Okay,
here.
sorry, go right ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's just he just beats the shit out of him. That scene, in a way, kind of, not necessarily affirms, but definitely gives some validity to everything De Niro's character is saying. Your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because, I mean, he does, that's one of the things he talks about at the beginning of the movie, too, is, because of his job, he has to work all of the really kind of shitty neighborhoods, and so he sees all of the worst stuff that the city has to offer.
But that's the thing, he asks to work in the shitty neighborhoods. The guy said, do you want to work days or nights? I want to work whatever. He chooses that.
Well, I'm not even sure, because, he definitely decides to just take whatever, but I don't know if the cab drivers get to pick routes or what, or how that goes, but that's definitely what he's exposed to is the point, is the worst stuff that the city has to offer, and so that's just kind of what he sees all the time, and he doesn't really get out of that bubble much.
Yeah. I forget who said it, or who coined it, but there's essentially a military term, or military standard, that anyone who's in combat for 100 days or more is insane, no matter what, no matter how stable a person is. If they are in live combat for 24 hours, or not 24 hours, 100 days or more, they are 100% going to be insane. And that's kind of what he's gone through, in my mind at least, is he's in essentially what is a normalized war zone. And I think that's kind of why he targets the politician, is because the guy doesn't give him the answer that he's looking for when he says he wants him to clean up New York, you know? It's like, I want you to clean up New York, get all this slush out, and the guy's like, yeah, well, we're working on that. Or he gives him the very, like, political answer. And I think that kind of, like, makes him direct all his, you know, hatred to that guy, you know?
Well, I think part of it, too, is just his relationship with Betsy. And, like, she works for him, so it's kind of a somewhat of an attack on her as well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, I don't know, I don't know why he wouldn't kill her. I think it's kind of a combination of the two. Like, Betsy definitely makes him aware of the dude, but he doesn't really seem to mention her again after, like, that first attempt to call her and everything.
Personally, I never got why the fuck he was going for the politician. I mean, he broke up with Betsy, yeah, and he looked up to the politicians, like, yeah, you should clean up New York, but, you know, the politician did give him, like, a bitchy answer, but that doesn't explain why he wants to kill the guy.
I think why he wants to kill the guy is because he's, like, I thought my reading was the answer wasn't good enough for him. And, like, he felt that if that guy became president, he'd just allow it to go on longer. Because there's that scene where he was watching the TV interview with the guy, and he turns off the TV after a certain point in the interview. And that's when we first see him starting to plan to kill him, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I thought. And Alex, you and I talked about this a little bit the last time you were on for the Punisher Max review. Dude, if Robert De Niro were wearing a black t-shirt in any scenes in this movie, you could totally steal a lot of clips from this to make a Punisher trailer.
Oh, yeah.
I think either that or, like, a Rorschach movie.
Yeah. Rorschach you could get away with easier. But, like, just the black t-shirt, there's, like, I'm looking at those scenes where he's training himself, and I'm like, you could really make a Punisher, like, fan trailer with some of those scenes, and if he was wearing a black t-shirt with a lot of the others. Like, that scene where he shoots the guy in the convenience store is probably, I think that's the scene that jumps out to me the most, is just, like, the, like, biggest turn on a dime this movie has, because up until that point, I mean, there's some hitting, there's some, like, you know, shoving of women and some, like, you know, not kosher stuff, but overall, it's not like a violent or shocking movie to that point. But when he shoots that guy in the convenience store, it's just like, shit, this took a turn quickly. Like, it was building before that, but it turns, like, you don't really expect it to happen that suddenly. Yeah,
you're not totally sure whether or not he's going to actually do it.
Yeah. And it's weird how fast he does it. He's just like, hey, and you expect kind of like a standoff, but as soon as the guy turns around...
Yeah. So
Milan, you're about to say something?
The thing is, he wasn't about to shoot him. He's going, hey, but then the guy turned with his gun. He was going to shoot him, so he had to shoot first. Like, I didn't think he was going to shoot him just outright. It was just like, if he wanted to shoot him just outright, he just could have. But the thing is, he said, hey...
Yeah, I thought it was more that he wanted to be looking at him when he did it.
Nah. The thing is, the guy was he's bringing his gun around. And like, the guy had to shoot him because, like, you know, you shoot first.
Well, it's interesting that we're bringing up the stand-up thing, because one thing that Sport, Harvey Keitel's character, the pimp, calls him a cowboy.
Harvey Keitel?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, I didn't even notice that the first time I watched this movie.
He did not age well. Sorry, go on.
Well, he keeps calling Travis cowboy, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. I don't know. I thought, Milan, I get what you're saying from, like, a practical everyday thing, but I really did think he wanted to look at the guy when he shot him.
Okay, whatever.
Just from the tone I was getting from him, just from the scum and everything kind of talk he was doing, I really thought he wanted to look at the guy while he shot him. That might just be my interpretation. Alex, you got anything on that one?
I'm not really sure. I think he just at this point he's got so much anger and rage that it's just kind of bubbling up to the surface, and this is where it first really kind of explodes.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone else have like a scene that like kind of freaked them out, like because people do it, and anyone besides like him pointing the gun at the people on the street?
Not at all. Nothing in this film really spooked me all that much.
Maybe freaked you out isn't the right word. Just like, I don't know. That scene just bothered me because I know it happens, and I don't like that. I guess freaked me out is just an easier way to say that.
Unnerved you. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Anything like that?
No.
For you two?
The thing is, it didn't really unnerve me all that much because I've known people like that who are just kind of like that tiny little, little edge off madness, who are ready to snap and start shooting people up. And a part of me feels for that, but like, it's something I understand so completely that it doesn't frighten me anymore.
Yeah. That's not good. Or helpful.
Like, hey everyone, geeky gentlemen, shit gets dark real quick when Milan's involved.
Right? So it's like, no, I know a guy down the street. He has all these guns, and the school right across the yard. It's gonna happen one day. I will have told it.
I have this friend, this old 60-something-year-old Serbian cunt, by the name of, I'm not gonna give him his real name, but I'll just call him Nathan. And he used to work with me at this construction site, right? And he carries in his esky this giant fucking Bowie knife. And he's fucking sits and he tells me all these fucking stories that always start out like really normal, like, I used to work at home in the farm, and they always just somehow turn to like, my daughter was raped. And it's just, and it's like, and it's just, and then he talks about like not really rape, but just like, it takes these really fucking terrifying turns. And it like,
yeah,
and then it just switches back to kind and funny again. And then like the thing, he has this fucking Bowie knife, and I'm sitting there listening to my iPod, and he's reading his newspaper. Then he takes out his fucking Bowie knife and he says, "I have a friend who can never go home to Serbia. He was with secret police. He was part of this death squad that killed a lot of Muslims. And the Muslims in his home country, they gang up on him. So if he returns, they cut him open." And he puts the Bowie knife back. I'm like, okay, thanks, Nathan. And then he gets back to reading his newspaper, and I start listening to my shit again.
Okay, anyway, that was completely random.
Well, that's an interesting point about like the stories being pleasant and then taking a weird turn. Because Ian, you brought up the music earlier, and there is that kind of persistent, smooth, jazzy saxophone thing going on, and then suddenly it will like fade into this really horrifying thing.
Like drum beat kind of sound to it.
Yeah, and it just builds, and that's kind of where I was really thinking of like the post-traumatic stress disorder thing, because it's like everything's just normal, and then it's like you have this massive anxiety attack, and that's just kind of what the music's like.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I mean, I really like the music in it. It's the same song over and over again, just like subtly changing the tempo of it and, choosing carefully where to introduce the sax, because it's light drums at first, piano and sax. The sax fades in and out, the piano kind of stays constant, and the drum beat gets either louder or faster. But man, it gets, that's all that's playing. It's just one song, and I don't know if that's because this movie had a low budget, or what, but it's like really scary at the end when you're like listening to this very intense, drum beating, and then all of a sudden the sax comes back in at the final like fade out and stuff, as the action scene dies down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That part freaked me out. Lap can't talk. Alex, what was there anything in particular that kind of like unnerved you?
I'm trying to think of something besides just saying the whole movie. yeah, I don't know. There's so much stuff. Where like he fucking takes a drawer out, and then like he takes the track off of it, and just like methodically saws it off, and builds this thing that he can like shoot the gun out, so he can hide it up his sleeve. And it's just like, what kind of person like does this? Like, this is nuts.
Right, it's just terrifying because you now know that it's like someone is walking around the street doing that, because it's so fucking easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they show you every fucking step in the movie, it seems.
Yeah.
It's actually very practical. I mean, if you are living in a rough neighborhood like that, I mean, that's the most practical thing to do. I mean, like,
the most practical thing to do is to move. Ugh.
I mean, but it's just like, it doesn't really bother me all that much, because it just seems, I don't know, just so normal to me.
And that's a problem.
Milan was maybe the wrong person to discuss this film with.
Yeah, right. I mean, Milan's like, so what's this point of movie? It just gay romp through New York in 70s, right?
Exactly. And like, I don't know what you guys are watching, but like, there's like disco dancing everywhere. Everyone's singing. Like, didn't you guys notice the musical number with the pimps and the whores? I mean, there was fireworks and confetti and everything. What the fuck?
Right? Yeah, Milan's like, this movie is happy fun time. We should watch Russian films. That's just depressing. 5 hours of crying and puppies drowning, yes.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know, it just...
Okay, just for posterity's sake, Alex, please do a Milan impression.
Oh, God. I would need to work at it.
Damn it. No, I'm putting you on the spot. You've got to do it. You've got to do it right now.
Jeez. I can't do it. I'm terrible with impressions.
You're disappointing me, Alex.
Just do
you're
a
losing
really bad one. Just do a really bad one. It doesn't matter.
A really bad one. Greetings and salutations, all ye faithful Gentiles of the seven-headed golden giraffe.
Thank you.
Say something else.
That's all you need.
No, say something else. Just say like a longer sentence, please.
Like what?
I don't know, like, I want to feel what sugar tastes when licked off the chest of a hairy man.
Oh, God, why do I have that in my head now?
Go right ahead, Alex. Make my day.
Bro, that's the wrong movie.
Do the you talking to me thing as Milan.
Jeez. But he would probably do it in Russian.
Speak Russian. What's the problem?
Russian.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll take the pressure off of Alex. He's just disappointed everyone now,
Yeah.
so he can live with the shame. Nah, it's fun to do Milan impressions. That's the other staple of the show, just impersonating Milan occasionally to make fun of him. No, I mean, Milan, I guess I see where you're coming from. Like when you experience it in real life, or when you see it enough, you kind of get desensitized to it. And certainly, I've seen a lot of things that kind of play on this. I mean, I mentioned it before. It's on Netflix, so it's easy to get a hold of for anyone listening. Watch Taxi Driver, and then watch God Bless America, because they're very similar movies, but somehow God Bless America manages to make mass murder more appealing. I think it's all but down to the tone and the fact that he has a, like, cheeky young girl sidekick, but yeah. It's so weird that you can that there are movies about mass murder where, you know, the murderer is the hero, because, you know, he is. I mean, he does the heroic thing, I guess, in, like, getting a young girl away from pimps that are, you know, forcing her into this very disgusting life, and, wow, really, you know, emotionally and, you know, mentally manipulating her.
Yeah, because we do definitely see that Sport is really goes out of his way to emotionally manipulate her. Because there's that whole scene where she starts talking to him, and then he's like consoling her and like hugging her and stuff, and it's like, this girl is 12 years old, and he's saying like, very, very sexual things to her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I mean, it's very. It reminds me very much of what Manson did. Because like she says earlier that she was high, so that means they're probably getting her hooked on drugs as well.
Yeah.
All in an attempt to control her.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Milan.
It's really disgusting, and that's why I think he kind of becomes a hero, because, like, it fucking rings home, because, I'm not a fan of child prostitution. I know it's a very controversial stance, but I don't, like, I mean...
You don't say.
You don't say, because it's just...
Milan, I will not have any kind of, downplaying of childhood prostitution on my channel.
I'm not
Good day, sir.
I'm not plowing it. I'm downplaying it. I mean, just like there was like, funny enough, like I heard that the place that I live now, like Liverpool, like before I came here, this was a real fucking shitty area with like fucking pimps selling girls out on the street, and like I've been recently watched a documentary where homeless kids in Moscow are forced to sell sex for food. And it's just like, this is why I think this movie has a kind of a happy ending, where the fucking disgusting ass child pimp fucking gets shot, and his fucking comrades get fucked up as well. I mean, like, it's just, I know it's very shallow, and it's not addressing the real problem, but it's very, what's the right word I'm looking for?
I get what you're saying about...
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel good in the soul seeing cunts who deserve to get shot, essentially.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that. And that's what's appealing about God Bless America, too, is, I mean, he kills the judges of American Idol, essentially, and that is quite satisfying. But at the same time, I mean, because they're horrible people. Like, his whole thing is he just goes around the country with his, like, teenage girl sidekick, so it's very much kind of like... It's you can definitely tell there are elements of Taxi Driver in it now that I've seen Taxi Driver. He goes around the country killing just people who are assholes and deserve to die in his mind. And I mean, he's not wrong. Like, he kills Bill O'Reilly, or their stand-in for Bill O'Reilly. He kills like this. He kills one of those girls that's on those, like, MTV reality shows for spoiled rich brats. He kills one of them and her parents. And there's a brilliant scene after he kills them, and he and his teenage girl sidekick go to a drive-thru to pick up food, and they're just covered in blood. Just, like, head to toe covered in blood. And they go to a drive-thru to pick up some food, and the guy in the drive-thru just looks at him and is like, do you guys need some napkins? Just a really simple moment. Like, the movie's definitely much more humorous, and it's shot kind of like those, like, classic American road trip films. But it's very similar. You can definitely tell elements of it were derived from this, and the guy's not a hero in that one to the rest of the world, but he is to us because you get to see the world from his perspective. And I mean, yes, to bring this very long train of thought back to Taxi Driver, yes, I mean, he does what is at least perceivably a good thing. I mean, seeing Batman beat up pimps is fine, and, seeing Punisher kill them is always fun and fine and stuff. With this, it's not that he kills them that I have a problem with. Like, I typically do not condone murder. Just
really?
Throwing that one out there. Typically, I don't condone murder, but I don't know. It's that he doesn't do it because it's the right thing to do. He does it because he wants to kill someone. And that's problematic for very obvious reasons. If the Secret Service agent had not spotted him, he would have killed that presidential candidate, hands down. No debate about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I mean, that's what he was going to do. So, I mean, the movie has, I guess, a happy ending, as Milan's putting it. I disagree with that to a certain extent. It has an ending we can stand behind. Well, at least some good came of this. But it's kind of like, it's like a terrorist bomb blowing up a factory that makes defective toys that are kind of like, hurting children.
So basically a terrorist bomb exploding in China.
No, like let's say there's an American factory. And,
it's a joke because China makes defective toys.
Yeah, I get that. I'm like, let's say there's a terrorist attack, and at the last second they accidentally ran into a factory and killed the people that were purposefully making these toys defective and keeping it from the public, and blew up the factory, but none of the workers or anything died because, happy, lucky, fun times. I mean, certainly it's good that, like, not the worst thing ever happened to it. I mean, they didn't drive the, bomb into a preschool, but it doesn't make the terrorists good guys. If that makes sense.
It's the lesser of two evils. But I mean, that's the whole point of the movie is, like, I don't think it comes down with, like, a specific answer. It's just supposed to, like, leave you with questions and leave you feeling uneasy. And that's kind of what the movie does.
Oh, yes, I'd agree with that. Wholeheartedly. You watch this movie and you're like, well,
I'm not getting in a taxi.
Wasn't that a fun
ever
bomb? Yeah, I'm never getting in a taxi for the rest of my life.
Funny enough, watching this film really it really inspires me to become a taxi driver for some unknown reason. I don't know why.
I don't know, man. I'm still just like, where's Ronald Reagan so I can kill him and get Jodie Foster to fall in love with me?
Totally.
Milan, just because you don't get that joke, and I've made it like 4 times.
No, I get it. The guy who assassinated, Ronald Reagan was inspired by this movie to kill him because he wants.
No one assassinated Ronald Reagan. Okay. John Hinckley Jr. attempted to kill Ronald Reagan because he saw Taxi Driver and thought it would impress Jodie Foster. And it's just, I really love that sense of, I love that sense of purpose, is just, if I try to kill Ronald Reagan, like the character Travis did with the Republican candidate for presidency in the movie, if I try to kill him and I succeed, then Jodie Foster will love me.
That makes perfect sense.
One of my favorite gags on Family Guy, I really like Family Guy when they do gags that are, like, smarter than their audience, is here to start off, like, they're having a race, here to give the opening shot for the race is John Hinckley Jr., newly released from the mental asylum. So he holds up a gun and he shoots it, and then Jodie Foster comes over and is like, you shot that gun really well, John. I think I was wrong about you. I think I was wrong about a lot of things. And then they just go off together. Very few Family Guy jokes actually work for me, but that one did. That's one of the ones, the more I think about it, the funnier it is. Because isn't Jodie Foster a lesbian?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. That really does it for me. Yeah. I don't know, that joke keeps coming to mind, and, like, should we talk about that more in depth? Do you think this movie directly inspired, like, craziness? Because didn't the guy also mention Catcher in the Rye?
That book just has the worst luck for that.
And I don't understand why, because it's just the shittiest little fucking thing. It's just a teenage boy complaining. I mean, if I wanted to see that, I'll just fucking go on YouTube. Fuck!
Well, that's to be fair to Catcher in the Rye, it's the historical context that makes it important.
Fuck the historical context. As a book on its own without the historical context, it's just a teenage boy being a cunt. Because he's a teenage boy, and all teenage boys, by extension, are fucking cunts.
Is your brother in the room by chance?
No, he's not. He's in summer camp. That's why I'm speaking so loudly.
Well, I want you to do me a favor and make sure you play that clip for him over and over again when he gets back.
My little brother isn't a cunt. He's a sweet, loving, heartfelt...
But he's a teenage boy, so by definition he has to be a cunt, unless your logic is faulty.
No, he is a teenage boy only in physical terms. He is, emotionally...
No, I'm pretty sure your brother's a cunt. Every time I hear a story about Mickey, I'm like, that kid's a cunt. Anyway.
It's kind of interesting that you bring up the emotional age being different from, physical age, because that's something that I definitely saw with Travis. And they kind of hint at it almost a little bit with when he goes to the theater for the first time and he's buying the food and he's getting all these candy things.
Right.
And he's really thought ahead. He's like, no, I want Jube Jubes because those last longer.
That's actually really cute because it's I want Jube Jubes. I'm like, oh, I want to give you a hug, you sweet man.
Yeah,
yes, everyone, Milan Jeftik is sexually attracted to the taxi driver. It's De Niro. Fuck you. It's De Niro. I don't care. It's young De Niro. God damn it, he can put a gun in my face.
God, he is so young in this. It's
I
nuts.
know. Fuck.
As someone that's grown up with Robert De Niro as that old guy that's in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, it's so shocking to see him young.
And he looked like he's fucking damn, son. Damn! I gotta say.
Nah. Just to harken back real quick, since we're nowhere right now, and since Milan just brought it up, to be fair to Catcher in the Rye, the historical context is what makes that book so important, is because it's the first book that actually dealt with, teenagers are people too, and not just, plot devices.
Yeah, teenagers are shitty people. They're just awful.
They are. They really are. Teenagers are horrible people, and that's why they're not. That's why they are not allowed to vote.
They're just you claim that this book is really important for portraying teenagers in a realistic way, and I've met some teenagers that aren't horrible, despicable, whiny cunts. I mean, I'm sure...
Milan, hold on. You do this thing all the time where you read, a sentence or you watch, one scene out of a movie and decide you know what it is. Have you actually read the book?
I've tried. I couldn't get...
Well, then no. Shut up. You're done. It's over. You lose.
I got
Goodbye.
halfway through it.
See you again.
It was awful.
See you again.
It was awful.
Goodbye.
I don't have to
You're
eat...
done. You're done.
I don't have to eat half a shit sandwich to know it's shit.
No, because it's what the story builds to that matters. I'm not going to sit here and argue Catcher in the Rye, because this isn't a review of Catcher in the Rye, but I brought it up because I wanted to kind of connect it to what happened in Taxi Driver and what happened with John Hinckley Jr. I'm sure Taxi Driver's been mentioned as, this inspired me to do this terrible thing. Just weird because it's a character study of the people that do those terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
There's a certain level of irony there.
Right? It's just if it weren't so sad, I would laugh. No, I look at Taxi Driver and I look at Catcher in the Rye, and it provides this kind of window of, this is how I feel, and this is what they talk about doing. How many times does Holden Caulfield talk about, what he wishes would happen to people, and how many times what does Travis do, is these horrible things to people, and it's just it fills these kids and older men, and certainly, with this sense of, this is what I should do. I should do these things. I'm going to act on it because these books talk about not just thinking about things, actually going out and doing these things. This movie talks about doing these things.
So you think it's potentially glorifying it?
If you're a teenage dumbass, then yes.
I don't know if I'd say glorify it. I'd say a misinterpretation would would lead to that conclusion.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, if teenage boys, especially, or teenagers in general, they don't have the proper world experience to comprehend what what these particular works are talking about. I'm sure if an angsty teenage boy watches Taxi Driver, and he feels like, yeah, man, life is shit, y'all. I'm gonna get a gun, y'all.
So what does Milan do? He trivializes and stereotypes the teenager.
Yes.
Which is why Catcher in the Rye is important, because it didn't do that.
You must dehumanize all teenagers and treat them like the subhumans that they are. I just...
Well, this is why high school exists. Why do you think high school exists? There you go. No, but let me explain Catcher in the Rye to Milan. The reason that he's whining and shitty the whole time is because he's a kid who has all these high aspirations about what it's going to be like to grow up, and then he begins to actually experience the adult world, and he's a really smart kid, especially for his age, and he sees through all the people's bullshit. He sees that they are phonies. Yeah, he sees that they're phonies, and he's just so disillusioned and so disappointed, and he looks at his little sister, who's just like he was, this innocent little kid, and she's playing on merry-go-rounds and shit, and he just wants to be able to save kids from experiencing the disappointment that he has gone through. That is the point of the Catcher in the Rye. It's not about being a selfish little whiny teenager. It's about wanting to save the innocence of youth.
And Travis does that too, with Iris, and he's definitely trying to protect her innocence, and maybe the innocence that he thinks he's lost because of the war, because of his job, because of everything that's happened. Because I mean, a big part of that I think is his failed relationship with Betsy, and that he tries to have this connection with her because he thinks that they're the same, and then he does horrible things and doesn't get that it's his fault, but he blames her and says oh no, you're not who I thought you were.
You're a phony.
Yeah. And then the next person that he gravitates towards is a younger version of Betsy.
Right. The interesting thing was the way they developed Betsy needs at least 2 to 3 more scenes, in my opinion, because he gives her that whole speech when he first meets her about I think you're this kind of person, I think you're empty inside, blah, 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 and I think that that I feel that way too, and no one else here gets you, blah, 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 I see you sitting there, blah, blah, blah. He goes through that whole speech, and then they go out for the meal, and he's like, you and I, we just have this electric connection, and I don't like that guy you're working with, because I can tell you don't like him, and stuff, and it's and she's totally digging it. I'm not sure if she's just, really fascinated by him, or maybe she thinks he's hot. I don't know. But she's obviously connecting to him on some level. And
she says, I've never met anybody like you before. But she doesn't say it in a really I'm totally falling for you sort of way. She says it in more of a matter-of-factly kind of...
You're a walking contradiction, she says. You're a walking contradiction.
Yeah.
She can't process him, I think.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just, I think we needed more with her, because I need to see why he feels that connection to her, or why that connection is, in fact, his own insanity. Because I don't think we see enough of, just her, or her doing something that confirms or contradicts what he's saying. I think we needed that more. Because all we really see her do, besides that scene where she shows up at the end, all we really see her do past the point where she, ditches his ass is, look at the guy running for president. She just sits there and smiles in other scenes. And I mean, certainly that's a quality of a phony, but I don't know, there's nothing to really confirm it, I don't think.
Well, I think that's maybe part of the point, is I think Travis is mostly just projecting. He sees her and he thinks that she's beautiful, and then he just kind of projects all these things in his head onto her, because if she's beautiful, well, then she must be worthwhile on the inside too.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think it's better that we don't get to know kind of more about her, because Travis doesn't really get to know her very well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think then my biggest problem with it is that she goes out with him. Like, I don't know, I think I would have liked it more, though it would have been a little... I suppose it would have been a little obvious that there's something very wrong with him very early on if he kept pursuing this woman who obviously had no interest in him. Like, I mean, he tries once after she ditches him, and then he tries twice after she ditches him, one out of just pure anger, one out of desperation. And then he gives up on her, right? He doesn't really go after her, he goes vicariously after her through the politician, but, I don't know, it's just that she goes out with him that kind of freaks me out about it, because I'm like, so is there something to her, or is she just fascinated? I don't know.
I think she's a little fascinated. I don't know, maybe she's trying to make the guy at her work jealous. I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of like that this movie has gaps like that, though, because it puts the focus more on Travis and his experience, and that's kind of what the movie's about.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really like, we brought up early at the beginning the way in which the rain and the windshield and the streetlights kind of distort and blur everything. And I think that's kind of a good metaphor visually for everything that's going on with this movie. And it didn't occur to me until we started talking about it more, and Alex, you brought up kind of some of the distorted shots of, like, black people and stuff. It's just a very striking thing, the more I think about it, that he's got this very blurred, very hazy worldview, and he can kind of make out anything he wants from it, and what he's making out is obviously terrible because it's him projecting what he wants the world to be, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like all he really knows is, like, violence in some form or another.
Yeah.
And then he kind of just perpetuates that whole cycle. Because, like, I really can't imagine, after everything that's happened to her, that Jodie Foster's character is going to be okay after that. Like, she had, she had a horrible life, as the child prostitute, but then she saw, all these people murdered in front of her.
Right?
And at the end, when he goes to save her there, she's cowering from him.
Yeah. God, that's a good scene.
That is. I love that final shot where the cops come in and he's all shaven-headed and covered in blood, and just picks up he raises his hand to his head, and she goes with that finger gun motion, and he just smiles, and that's just like, oh, De Niro, you sexy beast.
He has that creepy kind of blank smile.
Yeah, it's disturbing in a kind of, it's so iconic too. It's just like it's such an iconic image, but it's so because you have a child crying in the corner, dead bodies all around, and he's just sitting there on the couch with a hole in his neck. So it's I don't have to describe it to you. It's a thing that is unnerving.
Yeah, I really just like that scene in general because it's just so sudden. Like, you expect him to come up to him and say, where's what's her name? Iris. Where's Iris? And all of a sudden it just shoots the guy, and then he goes and he shoots like two other dudes, and it's just so sudden. It's like the violence is very real in a certain sense because it just happens. There's no like tension music building up to it. It just bam, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like how it's not glorifying the act of violence. It's
showing the act of violence.
Yeah. It's quick and it's ugly, and it's just yes. If a man gets shot, he falls over, and that's it, and he screams in pain.
Yep. I don't know. I don't like the acting in the scene. My God, the dude that keeps, you son of a bitch, I'll kill you, you son of a bitch. God, I hate that dude. Terrible actor. Which is weird because I like his other scenes, like when he's paying Iris and stuff. I mean that was fine, like the awesome shot where he walks out of the hallway, out of the darkness in the hallway. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fine there, but God, when he gets shot and he's supposed to be like yelling, I'm like, say something else, please. Like, you gotta give British movies credit for that. People know how to insult each other. I don't know. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write a book full of insults. All it's gonna be is just good ways to insult people.
And it will all be directed at me.
Yes! All I'm gonna do is go through every episode of Geeky Gentleman and find a way to generalize every insult I've thrown at you. You fat, ugly, stupid, harebrained, crazy.
That'd make a good, like, YouTube supercut of, like, all of the times Milan gets insulted on Geeky Gentleman.
It'd be like 2 hours long.
Oh, that would be awesome, though.
All right, Milan, if you go through,
Oh, fuck you, I'm not gonna go through that. I want you to go through.
You have to do it. You have to do it, because that would be the ultimate insult. That would be the fact, like, you'd go through, and there'd be this 2-hour video, and then at the end it would say, edited by Milan.
That's a good idea.
Because that would make it, like, you had to sit there and listen to yourself be insulted 1,000 times. And the worst part is you were already there the first time.
I'll do that. Yeah. I like it! I like it!
It'll be art. It'll be the art of insults. Call it that.
Actually,
I don't know why I'm not this good at insulting people unless it's Milan. Something about Milan's. It's right there.
it's like drinking. It's like tasting a fine wine. It's just such a perfect blend.
There's just so much material there. I guess.
Okay. Just so you know, Alex doesn't feel left out. Ian, I want you to give me your best insult yet. Hold on, let me just whip out my dick. There you go. Shoot.
I thought you said you were going to whip out your dick.
Okay, I'm joking. Alright, go right ahead. Go ahead.
Alright, so you want me to insult Alex.
I want you to... Yeah, Alex, that's what I said.
Okay. Alright, Alex, you ready?
Yeah.
Hockey sucks.
Oh, shit, son! Oh, shit! Oh, no, he didn't, player! Oh, no, he didn't! Oh, are you going to take that from him? Come on!
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Alright. Fine. I'll have to dig deeper. Musla is a very stupid creature.
That crosses the line.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I like about you, Alex. You're very submissive. Until it comes to the Musula, then, don't fuck around with Alex.
Alex is a big Musla fan, aren't you?
I'm a huge Musla fan.
Like, I can't believe that, I was talking to you about Bill's for everyone that doesn't know, so Bill has his podcast, Demons from Outer Space, that he does on his channel, and him and his friend just make up, they make up a character called Musla, and I was talking to Alex about this, he's like, no wait, that's a real thing, I'm a huge Musla fan. And then he messages Bill about it, and Bill's all pissed off because he can't copyright the character now.
Oh. Hold on,
So yeah.
This is the thing, one more thing about Bill's podcast. He fucking asked me to design this fucking awesome fucking logo for him, and I did, and he doesn't fucking use it. I'm like, you penis.
You were talking about Zcast, not Demons from Outer Space.
Oh. What doesn't he do Zcast?
No, he's done one episode of Zcast, which is supposed to be the second episode, and it had Captain Logan in it, and that's all that has been done. There's been no more Zcasts.
I put so much work into that fucking logo. I'm gonna... Dick. Oh my god. Anyway. Should we stop now?
I think we're about wrapped up. Does anyone have any final thoughts they'd like to say on Taxi Driver?
Alex, you go right ahead.
Every time I watch this movie, I remember it as being horribly depressing and just utterly horrifying. And every time I rewatch it, I need to remind myself, I guess, just how horrifying this movie is and how depressing this movie is, because I'm never ready for it for some reason.
Yeah. It's so weird because this movie is violent, but not at all compared to what's going on today. You know, like, I wanted to watch it, and like my mom's like, "What, Taxi Driver? No, I don't want to watch that. I've heard that's violent." She's walking back and forth through the room, just like, I'm like, sit down and watch it. There's seriously not been a drop of blood in this movie, and that's the case for the first hour of the movie. There's not a drop of blood. No one gets punched or anything. It's a very tame movie by today's standards and everything until the end. Like, in the end, if there wasn't blood, that's totally a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
Gotta say. No, it's just, it's violent, but not in the way of like, oh, people are getting ripped to shreds every so often. It's just, it's violent in the end because it's so realistic, I think.
Yeah.
It's not like Hollywood movie violence. And that's what I think what's probably most disturbing about it for me, is it's so damn real. I'm honestly surprised it's not a biopic.
Yeah, it is so, yeah, you're right, it is so grounded and real, and like, it could, like, this could be a movie about one of these people who does stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a John Hinckley movie, or, I can never remember the name of the guy that shot Lennon. All we're really missing is the text, you know? Like, most of these guys have that, like, book or whatever they go back to and say, you know, if you want to know why I did this, read Catcher in the Rye.
I would like to this is a delightful romp through the 1970s New York. It's a light-hearted exploration of a delightful, wacky character, and an overall good-feeling film. I give it a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5 what?
Underage prostitutes.
now who's the one peddling underage prostitutes, Milan? Just gave away 5 underage prostitutes. What the hell?
Oh, it's okay. They're all sleeper agents. They're all actually 18 and FBI agents.
Okay. Alex, how about you?
A rating?
Yeah. 5 scale, and it's got to be a creative noun based on the movie.
I guess, yeah, I would give it 5 out of 5, but I'd give it 5 out of 5 potential future, you know, killers.
I will give this movie 4.5 out of 5. Just let me say the 0.5 is being taken off for some of the really bad actors. I'll give this movie 4.5 out of 5. Campaign buttons with the wrong word underlined.
Yes.
Well, I think it makes a difference. We are the people as opposed to we are the people. I love that.
Yeah. Well, then he ends the phone conversation too by saying like we are not going to pay for the buttons. You know, we are going to throw them in the garbage.
Okay, shit, whose topic is it? Damn, I didn't think about that before we started the video. Milan, you picked last time.
Yep.
I picked this. Technically, it's Bill's topic. Let me see if I can get a hold of him by the phone right now, since he's not on Skype.
Yeah.
And see if he can throw something at us right now, everybody.
Yeah.
Live call to Bill.
Yeah. But yeah, this film is really quite good.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's not a good movie. It's not an enjoyable movie. It's something that you should experience.
Yeah.
It's one of those films that's just like...
Hey,
yeah.
Topic? You got one on the top of your head?
Sorry, I'm not yelling.
Have you got a topic on the top of your head? Because it's actually your week, and I didn't think about that.
I might... Well,
no idea.
this is the part where we talk about Bill behind his back.
But is he going to be listening to this?
No, he's on the phone.
Nah,
I mean after.
I tried to announce right away. Or I didn't think to call.
Nobody watches the
No, we'll brainstorm it. Text me in the next 2 minutes if you can, though. All right.
No one watches this fight.
Okay, Bill can't think of anything. Since he didn't realize it was his week. Crap. See, this is the fun part. Alex, you get to join in brainstorming a topic for us.
All right.
And you're welcome to join again if you'd like. It has to be an idea which we can debate. Shit. Entertaining audio, everyone. You get to hear us think out loud. I'm scratching my beard.
I'm trying to find those shirtless pics that Alex sent me. Ha ha! There you go! Oh, wow! Look at you! Ha ha! Ha ha! Yeah.
Okay, wait, Bill just texted me. Bill just texted me. Hold on, I'm waiting for him to text me back. It's like, dude, just text me the topic. Shit. It's like, never mind, I got one. LOL, just hit me as I hung up. I'm like, tell me!
Oh, wow. Alex, you are one built boy. Damn. I am impressed.
See, Alex, you shouldn't have done that because you basically just sent him porn.
No, I'm not that low. I don't masturbate to pictures of my friends. Trust me.
Just thoughts of them.
I'm just impressed. Like, god damn it, I gotta fucking get in shape. I'm a fucking train wreck of blab and man breasts and just meat. That...
No, Milan, your tits are the only thing attracting viewers.
Dude, we only literally have 30 guys watching this fucking podcast. 30 guys. That's all.
No, we get like 100 views every so often. We get like between 50 and 100 views most videos. The move over to the Ian Harrington channel did not help. Hopefully that'll be straightened out in the next couple months.
No, guys, you know what? We need to advertise more for the homosexual demographic. I really don't think so, because the homosexual demographic is literally like, what, 1% of the entire population? I mean, certainly that's a lot of people, but they're not all watching our show. No, but dude, that's still, not according to my television, it's not. On TV, everyone is gay.
Yeah, actually, someone ran the numbers on that. There are more, if we consider every single person on television as an accurate representation of every single person in the country, there's a higher percentage of gay people on television than there are in the world. There's like 5 or 10% of characters are gay in television, so there are 5 to 10% of gay people in the world in television, as opposed to 1% in reality.
Yeah.
I thought it was closer to 5 to 10% in reality.
I might have my numbers mixed up. I don't know. Statistics are bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I might have my numbers mixed up, honestly. I think that's what it was, but it's entirely possible that I'm wrong. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't tell you.
All right.
I do know that the fact is right. Just the specifics are wobbly wobbly in my head.
Wobbly wobbly, I love that word. So are we still recording, or like we need to?
Yes. We're recording. I'm talking right now. All right. Bill texts me. Here we go. In a very, very related topic to this movie. It's a very close-knit narrative this time on Geeky Gentlemen for next episode. We're going to be talking about camp in movies and comics. When
that's my specialty.
Movies and comics, talking about camp. Oh, the Batman and Robin I shall have. The Batman and Robin I shall have. Okay, everyone. Thank you for listening. That's fun. We'll be back next week with the camp and movies topic. This was Taxi Driver, and this took a very odd turn left and right and driving puns.
And it ran some red lights
and there's some rocky road and
a pimp cut shot. It's awesome.
God damn it, Milan! You broke the pun dynamic.
You
ruined everything.
But dude, that's what happens when you're on the road. Well, that's what happens when I'm on the road. A pimp gets.
But it wasn't a pun. You could have at least made a pun. Damn it, Milan.
Sorry, I was.
This is why you This is why no one will ever love you. Anyway, because you don't keep the puns going.
Wait, aren't puns just statements of fact?
What? Okay, I'm gonna end this before the madness continues. Alright. Everyone, thank you for listening. And until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I am the madman.
And I'm the enthusiast.
And we are your geeky gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.
You're a false son of a bitch, that's what you are, baby.